We are getting started today. I'm going to show you how to do your first layer of your adinkra prints. This is my stamp design 4 different times on a 6" by 6" piece of paper. The first thing that I would like you to notice, the areas that I've carved away turn out white. The other thing I'd like you to notice is that mine has all of these carving lines through them. You'll notice these areas of kind of where the stamp stayed raised up, and I just want you to know that those are totally fine. Embrace them. It helps tell the story that this was done by block print, so don't freak out if you have all these little lines that happen. They end up kind of adding to it at the end. In order to get to this step, here's what you need to know. You're going to take your 6" by 6" piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half twice, once this way and then again this way, to find the center point and to give yourself your 4 equal sections so you know where to place the stamp. Pay attention to where the center is. That's going to be the most important. My name is on this sheet of paper. You're going to want to make sure that your name is on it because it's going to be messy at the end. You're not going to be able to do it later. And my stamp has an arrow on the back because you can choose to follow a special arrow code pattern, or you can put 4 stamps on here the same direction. It's up to you. But the arrow code is helpful. I had to use mine just to make sure I was placing it because this gets really messy. I have ink on my inking plate. That's what this surface is called. And Mrs. Mac, me, I will be in the back to help you get the right amount of ink. You can mix colors today, but we want to keep them light. You're going to want a magazine. This is super important when you're printmaking because it always gives you a clean surface to print on. I'll demonstrate how that's used. And you're going to need a brayer. This is used to get the ink onto your stamp. I think I'm ready to demonstrate. So the first thing I'm going to do once I get my inks is mix this color around. Notice the shape of this inking plate. It's kind of like a sideways Z. We're going to use this to rest it against the edge of the table so that it doesn't roll around on me when I use my brayer. I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to use it to spread out and mix the inks that I have on here. You do want to make sure that you spread the ink wide, so I want to use this whole inking surface. That will kind of help you prevent lumps and runny areas in the ink. So I do want to spread it out over the entire surface, and I want to make sure that the ink is mixed. So notice I have it against the table. I'm not pushing it around and trying to chase it like this. It's designed so that it can kind of rest up against the edge. So I'm just going to mix this. Don't spend too long playing with it because the ink does dry pretty quickly, and you have to get 4 stamps done before you begin. So you should hear, if you can hear that kind of sticky sound, you should hear that. That's a good sign that there's just the right amount of ink on there. Whenever you're not using this, don't place it haphazardly around you because you're going to end up getting really messy hands and really messy paper. Instead, when you're not using it, simply rest it on the inking plate that's already messy. Now, on this surface here, I'm getting prepared to do my first inking. So I'm going to take my stamp. This is clean. My magazine is clean right now. I'm going to put my stamp on top of my magazine. My brayer is inked, and I'm just going to roll gently on top so that my stamp is covered. When I'm not using the brayer, it rests on top of my ink pad. My stamp is now covered. Because I got some ink on this page, I don't want to put my clean paper on that, so I'm going to take this. I can either rip it off or I can put it right underneath. I now have another clean surface. I'm going to place my paper down. Notice where my center point is. Make sure I'm following. I want to do all arrow ups. And I'm going to place my corner of my stamp where I found that center point, or as close as can be, and press down. Now, already made a boo-boo because my hands were messy, so I got some ink on there. Do your best you can to place it. You may find that your stamp falls a little bit off the edge. That's okay. I'm going to flip it over, and this step is really important, especially as your ink starts to dry out. This is called burnishing, and what I'm doing right now is making sure that all of the ink transfers onto my piece of paper. So this is a really important step, especially as you continue and this ink is drying out. And then lift your paper off. You may have to give it a little help there because it's sticky. Lift off, and there's my first print. Now I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to take my brayer, get a little more ink on it, and re-ink my stamp. Change my work surface so that it's clean. That's not very clean. Place my paper on the clean surface. Pay attention to my arrow code. It's a little hard to hold because they're flimsy, but do the best you can to line up. Press on this side, flip it over, burnish, burnish, burnish on the back. By your second, third, and fourth print, this step is critical so you don't end up with one that's dark here and these two are really light and not good clear prints. This burnishing is helping to transfer the ink from the stamp to the paper. And then lift gently and slowly off. I'm done with my second of 4 prints. Put this off to the side. Get a clean sheet of paper. Repeat. So you'll notice that I'm going to be doing this 4 times in order to get this result. This is only layer 1. When you are all done, so when you have finished your 4 prints, your magazine pages, just clean off the dirty ones and throw them out. The brayer is your responsibility to clean and dry. The inking plate is your responsibility to clean and dry. Your stamp needs to be cleaned. It doesn't need to be dry. That's going to go back into your sketchbook. And this sheet of paper right here that you finished, make sure that your name is on it, is going to go onto the drying rack. I will come around to collect it or somebody else will. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight as to how to complete your first layer. Let's do one last one here together. Doing my best to line up the corners. Press. Flip. Yes, that will touch the paper. This side is wet and it will touch the paper. It's okay. Press, 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 press. Burnish, 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 especially as this ink starts to dry out. And then carefully and lightly grab an edge and peel off. One more to go and I'll be done.